I'm here with Rich Hoppy. He's an insurance agent. Hi, Rich.
Hey, Eric. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Meet you. First off, am I required to have car insurance?
You are. In the state of Vermont, you're required to have automobile insurance before you can legally get behind the wheel of a vehicle and drive it.
Is it more expensive for guys than for women?
It is.
It is.
It's a question that I'm asked quite often. And the reasons for that is that between the age groups of 16 to 19 specifically, the frequency of young male drivers having accidents is higher than female drivers in that age group having accidents. So that's the reason why men or guys pay a higher premium.
Will that change as I get older? Or?
It does. As you get into your 20s, your mid-20s, and eventually, a long time away for you, 30, the rates are going to even out so that they are the same. But the critical points are between 16 to 19 when it's just absolutely critically important to have the best driving record and performance as possible.
What if I have an accident or get a ticket? Will that change my rate?
It does. Now, I'll take them separately. An accident, if it's your fault, may certainly increase the cost of your insurance. In respect to violations, not always. But when you have an automobile accident and you're at fault, yes, it's going to negatively affect your insurance premiums.
What if the accident isn't my fault?
Okay. One of the things I like to do is to define what is at fault and what isn't at fault. And a couple of examples. And I'll ask you the question. Now it's my turn. If you were following behind a vehicle that was coming up and approaching a stop sign, and as you yourself started to stop, if you left an insufficient amount of time to apply the brakes and you struck that car from behind, would you be at fault?
I would say yes,
Yeah.
I would be at fault.
You're absolutely right, and that's correct. Another question for you was if you were driving to school during the winter and it was icy road conditions and you were doing everything well, you were driving at or below the speed limit, you're observing everything around you, but you hit a patch of ice and you lost control of the car momentarily and you struck a tree. Would that be your fault?
Well, I'd have to go with no because it's road conditions, but I don't know.
Right. That's the most common answer that a young driver, or actually any driver, gives. You would be at fault in that instance because you're in control of the vehicle. I know it may seem unfair because it was road conditions, but that's what experience does. It allows us to understand how to best prepare for those conditions. So I always like to focus on what is at fault and what isn't at fault. And an easy one for not at fault is, in the first example, if you were the operator of that car and someone struck you from behind, caused damage to your car, you're not at fault for that.
Am I covered if someone else drives my car? Or?
You are. There's a clause in an insurance contract called permissive use. And permissive use, as the name implies, states that you give someone else permission to drive your vehicle. So I'm an example guy, so let me give you another. It's lunchtime at school. One of your buddies says, hey, can I borrow your car? I want to go pick up something for lunch. That friend of yours does and gets in an accident, they're going to be covered under your policy.
What happens if I go away to school? Do I still have to have insurance?
You do. Now, again, it's going to depend on a couple of factors. One, are you bringing the vehicle with you to school or are you leaving it at home? Are you going away to school and not having the vehicle? And if so, are you coming home with any frequency to drive the car? And to explain that further, if you go away to school and take the car with you, it's going to be no different than if you were staying at home and driving the car. If, however, you go away to school and that car is only available to you on weekends, the premium or the rate is going to be lower because there's less frequency of you being in the vehicle. Can I bring up another one?
Yeah.
Can I talk about drinking and driving and alcohol and drugs and driving?
Yes, please do.
Five-letter word is never. I mean,
Never.
I'm a parent myself, and I was young one time as well. And drinking and driving or drugs and driving can be or is the absolute worst mixture you can combine. So I can't stress enough to young people, to anyone, but because of the process that we're using today, I can't stress enough, make a phone call, have someone who hasn't been drinking or using drugs behind the wheel. But whatever you do, whatever advice and conversations you have with friends, absolutely critically important. Stress to them, you just can't combine the two. Forget what it does in your insurance premium, because it's going to mess you up for a long time insurance-wise. The flip side, the more important side, is what it could do to a person's life.
This is all really good stuff to know, Rich. Thank you for your help.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.